Namaste, Taurus. This is your reading, and it's your Valentine's Day reading. Now, it's not really a Valentine's Day reading. It's like your Valentine's period reading. Valentine. I don't think I've ever done a Valentine's reading. I'm doing it this year, and probably the reason that I have not is because I primarily read for divine beings. Sacred beings, twin flames, divine unions, sacred marriage, however you want to call it, the illumined, the elect. That's for whom I read, and you know the dynamic to our relationships can be unique, to say the least, and we won't not necessarily be celebrating something like Valentine's Day, so I left it alone. But I just found it interesting this year, the way the Valentine's was falling on a Friday and sort of leading right into what will be President's Week, celebrated by some like a whole week off of school or work, in some cases, depending upon what you do for a living, and also Mercury retrograde. So I said, let me just see what's going on, sign by sign, with these energies, if we can pick up. And the way I've been doing it is, my, I guess, traditional, 4-card square spread, with one card for couples, one card for singles, one card for, it's complicated, which is a lot of the, like divine unions and stuff. Because some of us are together, but not together, or we're together but not together, in terms of like we're connected, of course, at the soul level and everything, and we may even be in contact and have some sort of relationship, but it doesn't necessarily have a label. It's not a 3D commitment and that sort of thing. So it's complicated. And the last card will be for any and all of us to share. Your first card is the 8 of Water, or 8 of Cups. A desire to move on, the search for something more meaningful and spiritual or emotional growth. So it can mean any and all of those things, or combinations of those. First and foremost, I got to say, those of you who watch my astrological readings, for the signs, individual signs, that I've been talking for Taurus, or for the earth signs in general, really, about a lot of like earth and water combinations that I've been feeling for at least like a month. That may be why this 8 of Water is showing up. It's not a court card, but I just feel it may be connected to an actual water sign with whom Taurus has been dealing. And this is thankfully not going to be everybody, but some of you may be considering like ending that relationship, right? This is for the couples, like the long-term relationships. You may be considering it, bringing to an end. If you're sure about it, then like the time is now. Don't, wait for the right time to do it, because it's never going to be a right time to tell somebody that the relationship needs to end. But, the right time is now. The time is now for you to go ahead and move forward. And the 2 of air behind it could be indicative of the fact that some of you are trying to come to a decision, maybe in this regard, like, should I end the relationship or not? And, you're just like ignoring the need that you need to make a decision, being unwilling or unable to make a decision, being at a stalemate and pretending there's no problem. So you would be like ignoring your own feelings in order to pretend there's no problem. So that doesn't help anybody. Going ahead, ending it is what's best for everyone. Major Arcana card 19, the Sun, is all about clarity, enlightenment, and the positive outcome for all involved in any given situation. Happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success if you have confidence in yourself. So if you can be brave enough to go ahead and say I gotta end this, then that's what you do. Also, other possibilities, that's not all these cards can mean. The 2 of Air, or 2 of Swords, can, for me, typically more so than just having to be about a decision, is a decision that the reason you're shy about making it, or maybe you're like even afraid to make it, is because it's the road less traveled. Like you're wanting to do something that's maybe frowned upon, or that you don't think you'll be supported in, or the person in whom you're interested, there's some sort of differences where maybe, there's an age gap, or there's, religious differences or political differences that are, so stark, and it's so important or meaningful to your family, cultural differences, racial differences, whatever it is. Some of us don't care about stuff like that, but for some people, it's like so serious, my child cannot date a whatever. And maybe this is the son specifically, the male child, perhaps that means the divine masculine, whose, parents or something or don't want him to lead a particular life, or you feel like society says this is not okay or that's not okay, and so you've been afraid to make a decision. For some, like a third thing that comes up with this card is, so not only do you have this decision to make that you've been ignoring, and not only have you been ignoring it because you're afraid of what society is going to say, it has to do with like sexuality. And it could be like bisexuality, the bi is in two, right? And the two of air, two of swords. And so there's a clash there, and you could be like internal conflict, trying to figure it out. Whatever you do, again, if you are brave enough to face it, major arcana card, the sun, represents the sign of Sagittarius in the tarot, but Earth's star, the sun, rules the sign of Leo. It is attached to strength and bravery and confidence. And if you can muster that up to be in your truth and represent your truth and, speak to who you are and live as who you are and who you wish to be going forward, then all will work out in a happy outcome. It's really like whoever doesn't like it, tough. Seek divine guidance if you're unsure. And then surrender. This card is even indicative of maybe involving earth, water, and fire. Like we just saw, this is the Taurus reading, but we just saw some water come up, and then the Sagittarius energy, the fire. Maybe there's some sort of party of three going on. Whatever the case is, divine guidance is here. And then when the moon shows up, it's guiding us to surrender, right? Just to allow and to trust what our intuition is telling us, our hearts, follow that path and not worry about the path society says, to travel. And here at the end, we have the Four of Cups, where the universe is trying to present you with a blessed, a divinely guided opportunity. And you're kind of not paying attention to it because you're staring at these three opportunities that are like missed opportunities. Maybe this is, again, for some of us, representative of that party of three. And we're focused on that. And so we're not seeing that we could have, something that's very special and only for us. The Four of Cups for me also tends to be about like the reason you can't see this is because you're just not expecting it, because you have this sort of like nothing good ever happens to me sort of mentality and attitude. So why should I even like open my eyes and look around? Like it's not for me. Why should I go to the mailbox? Nobody ever writes me a letter. Why should I have a phone? Nobody ever calls me. It's like that sort of thing. Meanwhile, it is for you. There is this blessing that's waiting for you. And so this guides us to like open our eyes and hearts and selves to the possibilities that are trying to present themselves to us. It's sitting here atop major arcana card, the World. Also upright. And for me, the World, and anytime I see naked female body, there's a need for surrender. The World is major arcana card 21, which also equals 3. Again, there could be some sort of party of 3 for some people. Maybe even a love triangle, but not necessarily. And the World for me is about things sometimes coming full circle and coming to an end. And I call it like my waiting to exhale card. It's funny because today, the 11th, the day on which I'm doing this reading, speaking of waiting to exhale, is actually the anniversary of Whitney Houston's death. And so it's interesting. But I call it the waiting to exhale card because like finally you can take a sigh of relief, like, because the universe is like guiding you slowly. It's not an abrupt, like tossing you into, out of the frying pan into the fire. Slowly guiding you out of one situation that, you probably should have left yourself a long time ago, whether it's a living condition, a relationship, a job, whatever, and you didn't. And so now the universe is stepping in. So since this is a love specific reading, this is probably in terms of love, the universe guiding you out of a situation, a scenario, and maybe even a whole relationship that you should have exited a long time ago. You didn't on your own. And so now the universe is helping you out of it. Then we have the Ten of Cups, which is about being happy. And, you know, even if it's like friends and or family members that we select, you know, to be our friends and family members rather than our blood relations, whatever, you know, whatever, with whomever we surround ourselves that makes us happy, like that's our family. And that's all we need is what this card says. In terms of love specifically, the Ten of Cups speaks to like those worries that you have about relationships or about a specific relationship or about your partner or whatever. Totally needless. You have no reason to be worried. Like everything's going to work out fine, whatever the situation. So like even situations where you're saying, I want to get out of a relationship, and you might be in your mind, you got this whole scenario about how things are going to go bad. Everything's going to work out fine. We also have the Hierophant here. So it may be about a marriage even, like, you know, wanting to move forward toward a marriage or wanting to move away from a marriage and divorce. Even that could be fine. And here we have two men. This could be the bisexuality coming up. We got two keys crossing each other. So they're not swords, but it kind of looks like this card too. Kind of looks like, right, the way those swords are crossing these unicorn horns. So maybe there's something about same-sex marriage. Right, here's the officiant, and you know we're trying to avoid a relationship, or maybe we're remaining in a you know, a heterosexual relationship because we don't want people to know that there is you know, that we're gay. Especially maybe if it's you know, two men together. So you might be trying to lead one of these like down low lives. Again, right, with this card, like if I ignore it, it'll go away. I can pretend it's not happening. Pretending there's no problem, there's no situation. But guess what's behind it? The Sun again. Isn't that funny? So again, the major arcana card, the Sun, represents the sign of Sagittarius. Maybe there's specifically a fire sign involved. Does not have to be, but that could be. And the Sun is all about clarity and enlightenment and a happy and positive outcome. And guess what's behind the Sun? I'm going to stop here, but guess what's behind the Sun? Another Eight of Cups. Some of you got some stuff to think about in terms of how you know, progress from here. Whether it's moving towards something or moving away from something or someone. This, I paused because I was staring at this again. This can also be like the universe trying to tell you that it's trying to give you a way out of your like problem, out of your situation. Again, whether you want to move towards something or move away from something. It's trying to hand you the means as to how you could do that, and you're not paying attention. So you may need to take some time in solitude like this gentleman, but like really trying to connect with higher self, which is the Piscean energy, and Neptune, right? That's the deepest, darkest depth of ourselves. You want to connect with that energy and decide like what you really, really want. And then again, muster up the courage and bravery, like the energy of Leo. There's still some, you know, remaining from that full moon, and confront your circumstances. I started to say demons, but they're not, you know, they're not feeling them as negative things. These are very positive. It's all like conducive to growth and expansion and improvement. Very Jupiter. Maybe that's why all the Sagittarius energy is coming up. All right, so while I have these in my hand, let's just get started with the other spread. Again, couples will be first. Let me move these out the way. Couples. Singles. It's complicated. And for everybody. Couples. I thought I was feeling something else. Couples, your card is the Two of Wands in reverse, which is a super positive card and perfect for couples because it means that you can expect your relationship, like your commitment, to deepen. Now, some of us may want to avoid doing that like in an official way or capacity because of Mercury retrograde. Like, it warns against entering commitments or contracts during the period. But, you can throw caution to the wind and do what you want. You're grown people, and you can enter whatever kind of commitment or contract you want to during Mercury retrograde. Or maybe this is you acknowledging, you and or your partner acknowledging the deepening of the connection and the commitment, but not necessarily, like saying it or making it official in any kind of way. Or maybe, you have a really magical time. Again, it's super uplifting and uplifted for Valentine's Day. And then 2 days later, you find yourself like, it feels like you're falling flat. And it's like, well, what happened to the growth and stuff that we were, the progress we were making? It's possible that things may slow because of Mercury retrograde. But, that, again, the most important thing is that connection between the two of you and not necessarily the label that may or may not come with it. All right, so let's keep that in mind. Singles. Your card is the Three of Wands in reverse. Isn't that interesting? The Two of Wands for the couples and the Three of Wands, maybe that party of three again involving a fire sign, maybe specifically Sagittarius popping up. Okay, so the Three of Wands for singles as it relates to love can mean that we need to be careful about judging a book by its cover, and that may be another meaning of this specifically for the singles. Like, maybe we're not paying attention to this. We're not looking at it because it's not our usual type, right? It's not in what we're normally interested, but it's really possible that somebody may try to start a connection with you, or relationship with you. And it could be somebody, who's not your normal type, or maybe the meeting place is like out of the norm, or the manner in which you're meeting or going about it is out of the norm for you. Like, maybe at work, like I remember I used to always avoid not, dating anybody I work with. It's funny because I had gotten a job at what at the time was, it wasn't Chase yet. What was Chase before it was Chase? Chemical Bank. Before my children's father and I got married. So I was like 20, 21. And 21. And 20. And I had gotten this job there at 50. And it was a big building. I mean, huge New York City office tower. Maybe, at least like 50 stories in the building. And he worked on one of them. But because he worked in that building, like, I didn't want to work in any of them. I didn't accept the job. Well, I probably would have if I didn't have another job pending. But I had another job pending, and I called the other job and I said, like, do you think you guys may hire me? Because I don't remember what I said exactly, but it was something like, do you think you guys may hire me? Because if you don't, I'm going to take this other job, but I'd really rather not. I'd really rather take your job. And that job, which I ended up taking and remaining at that place for almost 22 years, like just short of 22 years before I got laid off. But that job was in Long Island City, New York. And again, the other one was on, by Wall Street, which is in walking distance of my house. So I went all the way to another borough of New York to avoid dating somebody that I work with, or vice versa. So, I was vehemently against it, as you can see. And so somebody may have something like that. I went into all of that to say somebody may have something like that where, like, well, I don't date my clients or my coworkers or my, subordinates or my bosses or my, friends of friends or family members of friends or whatever. You may have like rules about things. And so maybe that's why you're not paying attention or looking. And perhaps you should, in this case. Something very special could be awaiting you. It's complicated. What do we have? Well, imagine it's the Four of Wands. Let's see. No, it's not the Four of Wands. It's your energy, the Page of Pentacles. Did I mention before that the Hierophant is your energy? The Hierophant is a Taurus. I don't think I said that, but yeah, this is your energy again. The Page of Pentacles, who is in fact a Taurus, or perhaps some of you are dealing with another earth sign, a Virgo or Capricorn. Because honestly, first and foremost, I would say the page is a Virgo, right? The more youthful of a given element is like the mutable sign in my mind. That's how I would say he's a Virgo. Whatever this is representing for you, it's complicated. When this shows up, it can mean it's complicated. It can mean like the relationship that you had that was so, just vibrant and exciting and passionate and all that. Like it's lost its shine. It's lost its oomph. It's sort of bleh. Sort of like this now. It's sort of blah, boring. I can miss it if I, blink because it's not that exciting. Sort of lackluster. That doesn't mean it has to end. That doesn't mean you should leave it, although we have this overall energy. So you may be thinking about it, like, should I get out of this relationship? It's really not that exciting anymore. That's not really necessarily a reason to leave a relationship. For some it may be. Doesn't have to be. But if you want to save it, something's got to change, obviously. Right? Conversations got to be had, decisions got to be made, and something's got to change. So what's required is for you to be honest about what you're feeling and, convey it to the person with whom you're dealing. If you consider yourself more single, it's so complicated that you feel kind of single, and or you just, the two of you still date, or you still date, or whatever your scenario, no judgment from me. Do it however you want. If you feel more unattached and you feel like you're not meeting anybody new, you're trying, you keep being out there, then you need to look at what you may still be holding on to in your heart, or maybe at your soul level, maybe like cords of attachment, perhaps negative cords of attachment that need to be cut, some sort of ties to an ex or something you may need to let go of. And that's why it's complicated. Like you're single, but you're not single, and that maybe what needs to change before you can move forward. And the last card is for us all, and it is what? Oh boy. Well, this may be, like I said, some of us may be dealing with other earth signs, and maybe specifically a Capricorn. This is the devil. It is in reverse. The devil represents the sign of Capricorn, and in reverse, the devil is always better than he is upright. But even in reverse, it's like we feel stuck, we feel tied, and or we have the potential to make somebody else feel that way. Like to be too clingy, holding on too tightly to people or to a relationship or a type of relationship in our minds, right? A vision that we wanted of a type of person or a type of relationship, or the level of commitment, and like this isn't moving fast enough, so let me push it along because I expect it to be like the clock is ticking and I expect it to be here by this day or this time, and we're not here yet, so let me force it. Most people, I think probably it's safe to say, like the world over, find like that sort of clingy, aggressive, smothering, desperation kind of reeking sort of energy. Most people find that toxic and unattractive. So don't do it. That's what the devil is showing up to say. Like, make sure that you're not doing that. And if we need to take a break from, a particular partner and or from dating because, just feels like things are getting too heavy, then we should do that. I want to give you guys further advice. I feel so bad. I really think that I forgot to give further advice to Pisces. I just don't remember doing it. And now I feel bad. But we're going to give you some, sort of in the same way that we did the first cards. So for the couples, to go along with your Two of Wands and your deepening of commitment is the Page of Water. So of course the page, like these two together could be marriage proposals, which is pretty common for Valentine's Day, but like it could really be happening, like something that's really going to make you happy. Marriage proposals, cohabitation, so that's moving in together, and just all kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for in your life, but again, the Two of Wands indicates a real deepening of emotion, and the pages bring news and make offers and stuff, and this one makes offers of love and brings news of love and puts a smile on your face. You know, it's very emotionally happy, fulfilling. The Page of Water is intuitive, sensitive, artistic, and friendly, and perhaps an actual Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. A new person enters your life, or a relationship begins a new phase, right? That deepened level, that deepened phase. Also, heightened psychic abilities are common with this energy, and you should use them. Use your intuition and those, you know, to help you to make your decisions. Singles, it is Major Arcana card 8, Justice. This is like you getting your fair share. You're getting your just desserts and what you deserve. And again, that is somebody that's going to be good to you, that you're, you know, of whom you're deserving and who is deserving of you. And you guys can balance each other out. It'll be balanced energy, mutually supportive and beneficial. But again, you may have to look in areas that you're not used to looking for this person, or you may have to be in them and allow them to find you, or it may not be your usual type. If you have one, not all of us even have a type. It's complicated, people. Brand new start for you. On the heels of some difficulty. That's what the Ace of Swords is all about. It's like, we're here for a fresh start. We made it. It's a card of victory. Mama, we made it all the way up the mountain. But it was not easy getting here. So that's what the swords are reflective of. It was like the difficulty and the fact that there may be a couple more stumbling blocks along the way before you're actually where you want to be, but it's a fresh start for you to get there. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations. Seeing the truth in a situation. This is also saying what you mean, meaning what you say, being honest, living in truth, speaking your truth. And it's a challenging beginning, again, because it was a tough road getting here. But we are here. Crossing this Major Arcana card, Justice, definitely could be, a Libra and or Venus involved. And for us all, we're all getting a fresh start. And not only for it's complicated people, for example, are you getting a fresh start? But for you, it'll not only be a fresh start, but it's still one about which you're extremely passionate, or involving somebody about whom you're extremely passionate. And for all of us, this is involving something or someone about whom we're extremely passionate. Let's see what this deck gives us. Oh, 2 for them. Some people I didn't give any. Now somebody I've given 2. Lord. Okay, couples. Relationship. So some of you, and this is probably speaking only to those of you who are considering ending the relationship, or maybe like recently your relationship ended, and so now you're trying to, figure out where you stand and where you are. Some of you need to work on the relationship that you have with yourself first before you go any further. Nurture yourself, consider yourself, think of yourself, prioritize yourself, however it applies to you. Singles, you got 2. Wow, and they're like the same colors. This one is about surrendering, being vulnerable, allowing for head to toe healing and support by the universe, first and foremost, transience. And this one that looks like a couple, like in a tight embrace, very loving hug, is actually one person's inner masculine and feminine coming together in harmony and balance, like the scales of balance in this Libra energy. Again, mutually supportive, healthy masculine, healthy feminine coming together. Could be representative of the person you're going to meet as well. It's complicated. Ooh, fear. This could be what's been the stumbling block, right? And help, causing you difficulty along that road or climbing up that mountain, that you let fear and ego and stuff like slip in, and it's caused you challenges in your relationships. So the idea is going to be to be victorious over this fear, to conquer it, conquer the fear. That's what the Ace of Swords is capable of. And lastly, for us all, blessings are what's coming with the Valentine's Day energy. I hope you guys have enjoyed the reading. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not yet a subscriber, please consider becoming one by hitting both the subscribe button and the bell button. If you'd like your own private reading, then that information on how to get one, how to reach me and to contact me, as well as to just become my friend, or follow me on social media, or to purchase energy healing or merchandise and all of that. Everything's going to be in the description box below. Thanks again for watching. Namaste.